In our role for the EquiFund, we are the advisor and the manager of the fund of fund increase. This has allowed us to build trust, and by building trust we were able to create financial products literally tailor-made to address these market gaps, which we have identified via, again, a market study in this programming period. The main objective of the EquiFund in Greece is indeed to build on the previous work we have done in Greece and create and foster the ecosystem, the venture capital ecosystem. That the venture capital funds which we have created, supported under Jeremy, they serve a good purpose, but they need to be safeguarded by early stage, innovation-oriented financing and the scale-up possibilities. And I guess this is what is new in the EquiFund. Indeed, it covers the entire life cycle of enterprises from the very early stage, I always say from a PowerPoint presentation, all the way up to give them the potential to become a unicorn tomorrow. And that is new under the EquiFund. We have 3 clearly established windows: a tech transfer innovation window, startup venture capital window, and the scale-up window, a growth window. The 3 key success factors for the Equity Fund is indeed, firstly, starting with the cooperation with the managing authority, as I mentioned before, building on trust, having a common understanding, having the same objectives in mind, and being able to articulate this very clearly in our contractual agreements, which resulted in an investment strategy which was market-based and which allowed these funds, the selected funds, indeed to fundraise and invest the funds accordingly. The second success factor was speed to market. Normally you could think public institutions like the member state and the ERF taking months and months, potentially even years to come up with a contract. Here, from the first expression of interest between ourselves to the call for expression of interest, it took us 6 to 7 months. So the market didn't have to speculate what will come. The market was able to prepare, had sufficient time. We hit the market running, and the funds were able to supply their proposals quickly without having to wait too long, which is also critical when you have a pipeline on one hand and potential investors on the other hand. So the time to market was super speedy, potentially even beyond expectation. The third one is the regulation itself. The regulation in the programming period is flexible enough to allow for follow-on investments, and by doing that has almost a full market fit product. So these were the 3 success factors in a nutshell: trust, speed to market, and a solid regulation. The selection of the various funds under the EquiFund in Greece followed to a certain extent our normal procedure within the European Investment Fund. Based on a detailed investment strategy which we agreed with the managing authority and the ministry well in advance, we were able to define very clearly in our expression for interest what we are looking for. Our focus is primarily to understand the team composition, the ability of the team members to working in a team towards a very clearly defined strategy, and how well they will be able to perform in the implementation of the strategy. That is one part. The other part is equally important. Will this team be able to fundraise privately? Private capital attraction is primarily built on the past experience. Did people invest money so far? How did they exit these investments in the past? And did they create value for their investors in the past? Now, in our case, it's even a bit more tricky, I must admit, because you have to do both. You have to satisfy the private investors who normally are return-oriented, and you have to satisfy the Commission, the Member State and us, who have a policy objective. And with this initiative, we are hitting headlines. We are attracting people back into Greece, and I guess that makes me particularly proud that smart people are turning back to Greece and coming back because they find the opportunity they were looking for. And this is an important feature to really create an ecosystem, and ecosystems are all about people. And I guess we are on a good track to prove that this has been successful.